Right, so John, if you could choose to live through any decade in history, which would you pick?
I think I'd like to be a dandy highwayman in 17th century France.
So 17th century France?
Yeah.
Why? What happened in France?
Well, I just think it'd be exciting. I could dress in lots of really fancy clothes and rob from the rich and maybe hang out with Marie Antoinette a bit. I'd probably do a runner before it all got a bit head choppy, but on the whole.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to say something like the 80s or something, but okay.
Well, that too. Yeah. I mean, I did technically live through the 80s, briefly, very briefly. But
When were you born?
86.
86.
Yes.
You don't know the 80s.
I don't know the 80s. No, that would be fun too. I would like to live through the 80s and, and experience it, for all the great pop music and stuff.
Solid. I'd be quite jealous.
Yeah? Why? What would you choose?
I think I'd choose the future.
Okay.
I think I'd go to the decade of 2056 or 2050.
The decade of 2056.
the decade of the 2050s.
It was very specific. What's happening in the 2050s that you're so excited about?
Well, it's when the Vulcans first land on Earth and we get first contact.
Oh, I should have known. Nerd. I just assumed it was because you wanted to plug yourself into the Matrix.
Solid choice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could do that. That'd be good. I like the Matrix. Then I can go back to the 90s.
Oh, you could be anywhere you wanted to. Yeah, win-win. Perfect.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome everybody to the 50th episode of Beyond the Box Set.
Woohoo!
A podcast where we put prequels, sequels and spin-offs to films that don't have any. I'm Harry and joining me as always for the 50th time is John.
You sounded so fatigued then. For the 50th time, it's John.
Alright, 50 times, here we go. Number 50, right, what's this episode got in
I
store?
admire your stamina.
So yeah, 50 episodes. We did it, we made it. We're not failed yet.
No.
Although, our computers have tried to fail us.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by our dear friend Chris, who's very kindly lent us his laptop because ours have both decided to fail this week.
I have 3 separate computers that have all failed me this week.
Yeah. Some might take that as a sign, but...
I don't know. We made it to episode 50. We're here. Wait, we're still recording? Oh, God, yeah, we are. Whew, nearly lost it again then.
So essentially it's our birthday.
Well, nearly.
Technically 52, but we have actually been recording for over a year. We started recording in late 2016, and then we kind of published in...
Well, I looked actually. Our first episode that was published, I think, was February 2nd.
Really? Okay.
So...
we're coming in close to our birthday then, yeah.
When is this episode coming out?
Probably that date. It might actually come out exactly on our birthday.
Oh, Jesus, it actually does.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing that it is literally our birthday. Oh,
okay.
Happy birthday, Harry.
Oh, thank you, John. Happy birthday.
Oh.
Well, by the way, listeners, John's got me a cake.
I did.
Sorry, John's got us a cake.
It's a telling mistake there.
Well, it's only got 1 candle.
Sure.
We're not 1 year old.
Where are you a year old? And 50 candles on such a small cake would be a little bit overkill. And a fire risk.
True. Very true. Well, obviously we've picked a very special film, for me at least, which is Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
But before we talk about that, we'd like to make a couple of little announcements.
Mm-hmm.
We are launching our own brand of merchandise.
We are, yes. You can now find Beyond the Box Set t-shirts and mugs and assorted paraphernalia.
Yeah, we're on tpublic.com, or we will be when this comes out, if all goes to plan. I'm sure it will. We've done well so far.
Yes.
I would say touch wood, but we've got a glass table here. This is...
Yeah, don't rock the table. It's...
Okay. Yeah, so get your t-shirts. T-shirts, get them. So yeah, we're going to be launching on Patreon as well. We're going to have some bonus content for that. Initially, we're going to have exclusive access to our new bonus show, which we're calling Beyond the Box Set, which is going to be some quickfire movie reviews. We're going to put some outtakes in there, which we may or may not have just got. And we might do a couple of Q&As down the line as well.
Yeah, I mean, we really want to do a high-quality bonus episode. We don't just want to toss something off that's, you're not going to enjoy. So we want it to be really guided by what you, the listener, enjoys. So if you have any ideas for things you'd like to hear in our bonus episodes that you might be willing to fork over a few quid for, then get in touch with us on our social media channels, on Facebook, Twitter, on our website, leave a comment. Just let us know, and we will do as much as we can to accommodate it.
Yeah, so... we're going to do this as a pay-as-you-feel thing. Patreon works with different tiers, so we've put a few different options in there, but everything is available on every tier, so it's literally just how generous you're feeling. If it's money that you're not going to mind missing, then that's the right amount. Does that make sense? You look confused.
I'm just, you can give us literally any amount. No amount is too high or too small, especially not too high.
Yeah.
If you feel a little bit uncomfortable with the amount you're giving us, I don't care. I'll take it.
But yeah, so we're going to have some content there. We're also going to have a few other things. So if you give us your name and maybe some interesting hobbies, if you want to, you don't need to, then you can become a character in our next episode, which I would really love to do.
I feel like this is just you creating less and less work for yourself in many ways.
Well, yeah, but would you like to have a story written about you?
No, absolutely. No, I think it's a great little feature and we'll definitely honour it. I imagine you will be the one who uses this more than me, though. Because you are constantly on our social media, like, give me character names.
I'd just like to get people involved.
No, that's nice. I think that's really good. And I definitely encourage all of our listeners to do that. Also, once a month, we're going to have a Patron's Choice episode of our regular podcast, Beyond the Box Set, this one, in which we'll choose one of our Patreon supporters at random and invite them to suggest the film that we will then do for that episode. And we'll do one of those a month. So get your thinking caps on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. I like other people choosing the episodes.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
It's one of the reasons why I like guest episodes so much.
Again, less work for you. Yeah.
Also having a guest on.
Also having the guest on is nice.
No, that's not less work for me. That's sort of limiting in a way.
How so?
It's not a film that I've chosen. I'm going to choose films that I'm comfortable coming out with sequels with, but it's more of a challenge to do something that somebody else has picked.
True, that is very true.
It's more fun. And we're also going to, every month, give somebody a 30-second ad to plug anything that you want us to plug, of your own, of course, and there are some terms and conditions to that.
Yeah, we're not plugging anything explicitly political, nothing that could potentially be offensive, nothing illegal. Just, common sense applies here. But the idea is that if you are supporting us, whether you're another podcast or whether you're just somebody with a business or anything you want, or just something you like, if you want to, we will give you a good old plug. I mean, it's optional. You don't have to plug anything. If you've got nothing to plug, we don't have to plug your stuff. But
we could just plug your Twitter feed if you want some more followers.
Yeah, we could plug anything you like.
If you really like Google, we could just plug Google for you.
Yay, Google. Yeah. So yeah, there's loads of reasons to sponsor us. So just go to our Patreon website at
patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
Perfect. And is there going to be a big fat link to that on beyondtheboxset.com?
Of course there is.
Brilliant. So yeah, if you would like to support us, you can pledge as much or as little as you like. It's a monthly subscription service.
That's right.
And all of our bonus content will be available on patreon.com/beyondtheboxset. And as mentioned, if there's any bonus features you'd really like us to see, just let us know and we will do our best to accommodate them.
Beautiful.
Especially nudes.
That's not going to happen.
Unless we hit $1 million. I have it in writing.
$1 million per month, I believe.
I'm quietly confident.
I believe that's the goal we set ourselves.
Sure, great. Oh, dollars, not pounds. That's easier. Great. I'm already closer.
God damn it. Great. On with the show. Forrest Gump.
Yes, so this was your pick. And as you said, you wanted to pick something very special for our 50th episode.
Yes, I've been planning this for ages. And do you want to have a guess at how much time I put into writing what I've come up with?
7 minutes?
It was about 15. But
15, yeah.
I've been thinking about this for months and months and months. Like when we started this podcast, I want to do Forrest Gump. And then we got a few episodes in. I was like, I want it to be a special episode. Okay, got to do something really, really good. And I just came up to recording this and kept coming closer and closer and closer. And I had nothing. And I got to about an hour before and had a vague idea in my head. And I started writing. And then I just gave up on it and then just did something else. So we'll see what happens when we get there.
Okay, well, hold your ponies, Pam, because, we've got plenty to talk about first. So why did you choose Forrest Gump? Why did you choose this as our special 50th film?
Well, for me, it's been a film that I've known my whole life. And in a way, I've always related to.
Is that because you're slow?
Yeah, that's because I'm slow. No, I'm not sure. Just maybe like his childhood or something. Living in the countryside. I don't know.
Oh, that's really poignant.
Maybe childhood romance stuff. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, that's...
I mean, now I watch this as an adult. A lot of it is a bit more sort of like, oh god, that's quite depressing and sad.
Yeah.
Just a lot of things that I overlooked as a child. Obviously.
Yes.
A lot of it, children would just completely miss.
Yeah, of course.
But yes, I guess I related to that in some way. But also, it's such an enjoyable film. Like, I dare anybody not to like this film.
Sure. Oh, you'll find people. Like popular, not me. Actually, I really like this. But
listeners, write in if you don't, please.
Yeah.
Tweet me.
No, it's one of those films like popularity breeds contempt. So okay, you explained why you like this film and relate to it, and I think a lot of people feel the same way about this film. But what is it about this film that you think makes it so beloved? Because I would say this is one of probably the top 10 most beloved films of the past 20 or 30 years. It's like Titanic. Everyone's seen it. Everyone loves it. Mostly, it's just.
I think for this one, it's because it's got so much to it, so many different things. It's not difficult to follow. Everybody's got their favourite point, and even the bits that aren't your favourite, generally it's all quite enjoyable. For me, one of my favourite bits is him running, which conveniently is right at the end, so it's all just building up to
Oh, when he runs cross country.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
my favourite storyline.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and so that's why I think people like it. Everybody just has not a different take on it, but just they've all got their reasons for liking it.
I think you're right. I think it's got a lot of different elements and storytelling bits, and everyone can pick their favourite bits. And it's incredibly quotable. There's so many memorable quotes. You forget how many. Like obviously, everybody knows "Life is like a box of chocolates" and "Run, Forrest, run." But there's so many other ones as well.
Hello. My name's Forrest Gump. Do you want a chocolate? I could eat about 1.5 million of these. My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
What scene made you cry first when you watched it this week? Did it make you cry? Was it too familiar now?
No, I think last time I watched it was probably the most I've... Yeah, what point did I first start crying at this? It was when he meets Jenny for the first time.
That's like the first 10 minutes when she lets him sit down with him.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
That's really early.
Yeah, and I pretty much kept it up for the rest of the film.
Okay, yeah. You know me, I'm quite a cynical person sometimes. And I went into this film, I knew I liked it. I knew it was a good film. I didn't want to come in and just shit on it. But at the same time, I was thinking there's going to be a lot to make fun of here. Which there is. But at the same time, it just got me. I was watching it like looking for flaws, looking for things to write down that I could joke about on this episode. And then I found myself just really invested in it. And then, yeah, so the scene that got me against all my better judgment was about half an hour into the film. It's after the scene where he rescues Jenny when she is doing the gig as the naked folk singer. And then, so he pulls her off stage, then they go outside and she's really mad at him and she says, "Forrest, you can't keep doing this." And he just looks at her dead in the eyes and says with complete sincerity, "I can't help it. I love you." And I was just like, oh, damn it, Forrest! Like, just so emotional. Oh.
No, of that scene, it was then the bit where he said that he's going out to war. And then she just sort of turned around and was just like, what?
Yeah.
That was the bit. But then she still left anyway. Yeah, it was really something. It's one hell of a romance story, isn't it?
Well, let's get this conversation out the way, actually, because this could take up some time. What do you think of Jenny? What were your thoughts of Jenny as a character in this film?
Well, she definitely went on a journey.
Yes.
Big time. She was a dick for the first half of the film. Well, maybe the middle third, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then she really came back around when she turned into a hippie, but then still didn't give him full attention. And it was only when she got to the end and she realised that she needed him that she really got invested. Which you can take two ways, I think. You can take it as though she was taking advantage of him, or you can look at it as he's the only stable thing in her life.
Yeah.
And so she relies on him in that aspect.
Sure.
And even if there's years and years apart, which with all good childhood friendships, you can take years out.
Sure,
and come back and you just slot right back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the way that I like to think of it, is that she thinks of him as the childhood friend that she can just rely on at some point, and not that she's taking advantage of him.
Sure, okay. Well, I asked that because she is a very controversial character in cinema. Like, a lot of the people have very polarized opinions of it, and a lot of people think that she is the villain of the film. People think that she is a character that just uses Forrest because she keeps abandoning him. He loves her with absolute sincerity. For the whole film, he is 100% consistent in his absolute love for her and support for her, and he never asks anything of her particularly. He just loves her, and it's his fact. It's his grounding thing. It's what he knows. It's like, the one thing I know is that I love you, and I always have, and it's beautiful. And she doesn't feel the same way, I don't think. I mean, it's open to interpretation. But yeah, a lot of people think that because she disappears a lot, it makes her a selfish character, especially when she goes back and lives with him for a little bit, when they sleep together, and then the next morning she's gone. And the film doesn't really do a great deal of explaining why she does that. But I think that interpretation of the character, that she's this selfish bitch, is really harsh and unfair. Because I think this film actually tells a really interesting story about these two diverging lives. And I think the way that the film constantly checks back in on Jenny and shows that she's had a really messed up childhood, and that she is unbelievably damaged and broken. Like, it heavily implies that she was molested by her father.
Doesn't really imply.
It does. It pretty much says it. Yeah. In Forrest's kind of very blithe kind of way, where he doesn't obviously quite say the words, but it's essentially she's been horribly abused, and then she goes to college and gets kicked out of college because she ends up posing nude for Playboy or some similar magazine, and then she just careers from one bad decision to the next. She's shown frequently to have suicidal tendencies. That scene that I talked about after she plays the folk gig, that's the first time she contemplates suicide, and then multiple times you see it. Even though the film follows Forrest, it constantly checks in on Jenny, as a contrast, and you see the life she's choosing. And I don't think it paints her as a bad person. People seem to think it does. It just paints her as somebody who is very self-destructive and is just filled with kind of self-loathing and just can never truly love herself. But also, I think it leaves it quite open on what exactly her feelings for him are. And I think her feelings for him are quite complex. I interpreted it myself as she has a lot of affection for him, because how could you not? Like, he's such a good person in her life, and he is the one person who believes in her and trusts her, etc. But maybe she just doesn't feel that way, you know?
Well, I got it that she didn't feel like she deserved it.
Well, that's a very
She clearly
valid
hates herself.
interpretation. Yeah, exactly.
It's like when he's saying that that he loves her and he wants to marry her, and she's like, no, you don't love me. You don't want to marry me.
Yeah.
And that's just her thinking that, and he clearly thinks
The world of her.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I took from that. That's what I found so tragic was that she spent so much of her life just hating herself and not seeing why anybody liked her.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely valid. But I thought you could also interpret it as maybe she is fond of him but doesn't feel that. Maybe it was just really hard for her to go as all in on it as he was. And I think maybe the fact that she maybe didn't feel the same way made her feel very guilty.
Yeah. And
And then made her feel even worse for herself. And it's this kind of cycle of... That's not a relationship you see very often in films. Especially in films that are very, like, crowd-pleasing and are seen as quite saccharine. Which is... A lot of people look at this film as being a very saccharine kind of, you know, sweet love story and quite simple. But actually, that's a really complex dynamic to have. To look at someone and to be able to recognise this person loves me unconditionally and this is the one good person in my life, and I just don't quite feel the same way for whatever reason, whether it's self-doubt, self-loathing, or just unable to make that connection. And what does that do to a person? What does that do to a person's self-esteem, to a person's sense of self, and to how they relate to the other person? I'd forgotten how complicated this film is in that way. Without getting really heavy-handed and depressing, I think it does a really good job of portraying that relationship and giving both sides equal weight in some ways, even though it's very much Forrest's story.
Yeah.
So I always get a little bit frustrated when I hear people just slag Jenny off and say that she's a bitch and that she just uses him, because I don't think that's the case at all. I think that's a very simple reading of the film. But,
well, maybe you've done it for your idea, I'm not sure, but I'd love to see the exact same film told from Jenny's point of view. Or the exact same timeline told from... Oh, then again.
you've done it again!
Yes!
Damn it! Twice in... Well, let's park that. Yeah, that may be where I was going with that. But yeah, but yeah, so exactly that. You haven't done that, have you?
No.
No, okay, cool. But yeah, I think I do find Jenny to be a very fascinating character.
Will you marry me? I'd make a good husband, Jenny.
You would, Forrest.
But you won't marry me.
You don't want to marry me.
Why don't you love me, Jenny? I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
So you said the running scenes were your favourites in the film now?
It's my favourite storyline. My favourite small scenes would definitely be all the scenes where he slotted into existing footage.
Really? Okay.
I love it so much because it's so good. I mean, it's obviously dubbed, but
it's hit or miss for me.
But I think it's done so well in just sort of a comedy way.
Yeah. Even though they're very different films, I would compare this in some ways with Being John Malkovich, only in the sense that they both kind of have a fairy tale element to them. Well, like, what's happening is patently ridiculous. Like, it's so unlikely that one man would have handed all of those things, from meeting John F. Kennedy to accidentally inventing shit happens and the have a nice day smiley and running across the country and inventing a multi-million-pound shrimp industry. You know, all these things he does through the film. You have to suspend your disbelief. But in the same way as John Malkovich, the film has this kind of internal logic where you just kind of like, yeah, okay, I accept this. And all those historical scenes, like I said, yeah, you don't think, oh, that will never really have happened, because it's a whimsical fairy tale and it's sweet. I agree. I really enjoyed that. I will say that in some of those scenes, the special effects used to make it happen, I would describe as variable.
Definitely were. I think it was used very well, though. I think they knew what they had the capability to do, and they used it in a way that it had a certain style to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way, and it was definitely very comical and felt very deliberate to me. I really liked it.
Yeah, the John Lennon bit was the worst one for me.
Really? Well, I mean,
because the mouth. Did you notice the mouth?
Oh yeah, of course I noticed the mouth. But just like the concept of it was great. Like hey, that's where he got the idea for Imagine from. Yeah, just little bits like that. Him meeting the presidents and stuff.
Teaching Elvis Presley how to dance.
Yeah. But yeah, they're just great little bits.
Forrest Gump, John Lennon.
Welcome
You
home.
had quite a trip. Can you tell us what was China like?
In the land of China,
People hardly got nothing at all.
No possessions?
And in China, they never go to church.
No religion, too?
Ah. Hard to imagine.
Well, it's easy if you try, Dick.
Who is your favourite character in this film?
I would have to say Jenny. I would. I know she's hard to like sometimes, but I find her the most poignant and the most interesting. Because Forrest is a very simple character. He's almost like he's so perfect. You know, he's such a hero and such an uncompromisingly good individual. And it's great. And Tom Hanks plays that beautifully. But I'm always more interested in the more troubled characters. I think there's more you can think about with them. So yeah, I would say Jenny. What about you?
Well, for me, I'll have a grumpy character.
Are you going to say Lieutenant Dan?
Well, the only grumpy person in
The grumpiest person in the film, yeah. Lieutenant Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I just love a character who's just like, what is this? This is stupid.
Always commenting on the film itself in some ways, yeah.
Yeah, which is why people like Han Solo, for example.
Yeah, exactly. He is definitely the Han Solo of this film.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan, what are you doing here?
Well, thought I'd try out my sea legs.
Well, you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
Yes, I know that. You wrote me a letter, you idiot.
When we did our Castaway episode, I asked a question. I said, is Tom Hanks really a good actor, or is he just someone everybody likes? And I have to take that back now. I do.
After watching the best film he's ever done.
Yeah, true. I mean, I was being a little bit facetious because he's obviously a good actor, but I think Castaway's not his best work. He's a little bit hammy in Castaway.
No, not at all. I really don't like Castaway. It's an awfully paced film.
Yeah, his performance in this film was really phenomenal. He plays it beautifully. Just simple lines like when he declares his love for Jenny, and it just aches. This is the quintessential Tom Hanks role. I don't know who else could have done it. However, I can tell you who almost did it. He was not the first choice.
Good segue. Segue.
Many people turn this
so subtle. I almost didn't notice.
Yeah. Did you know about this? Many people turn this role down. It did not. You'd think it'd go straight to Hanks, but no. People who were offered this role and turned it down. John Travolta.
I can't see him doing that and it not being insensitive.
Yeah, very different film. Tom Hanks won the Oscar and this film won Best Picture in a very competitive year because John Travolta turned this down to make Pulp Fiction.
Oh, right.
And to be fair, probably a good decision. Yeah, worked out for both of them. Although he has said it was the biggest mistake of his career not to take Pulp Fiction, but to turn this down because obviously it is such a career-making film. Also turned it down, Bill Murray.
Okay, that maybe could have worked.
It would have. I don't know. Bill Murray's so inherently comedic to me. I don't know if he would have been able to make it that sincere.
True.
I really struggle to imagine Bill Murray in that role.
I think Bill Murray's career after that would be extremely different.
Probably true. Yeah, it might have changed things a little bit and the kind of roles he would do afterwards. Yeah, I can't picture any of these people, but yeah. Also, you'll like this one, Chevy Chase.
Wait.
From Community.
Oh God.
He would have been the most hateful Forrest Gump ever.
Oh my God! Wow.
I mean, he was a movie star in the 80s, and he didn't look like he looks now. Like, you know.
Now I'm just going around the table in the table
Community,
just picking each actor. Like, what would Shirley be like as Forrest Gump?
Arbed could do it.
He could do anything.
Yeah, true.
As Arbed doing that.
Yeah, so it would definitely be Arbed as Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Shirley's Forrest Gump. That's a very special episode they never did, but should have done. I would love that if all of them just doing their own plotline as being Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame it's over. We could write. Maybe that's the movie.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll write into Dan Harmon.
Well, yeah, Dan, if you're listening, this is the movie. 6 seasons of the movie. The movie is 6 degrees of Forrest Gump. Every major character plays Forrest Gump in their own head and gets 20 minutes to do it. It's genius.
Somehow you get everybody back.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, so they're the ones who turned it down. Also, this film is based on a book, a novel, and the writer, a guy called Winston Groom, he actually wanted the actor John Goodman.
It's not a bad show.
No, yeah. I think he stopped complaining when the film made gazillions of dollars and he made a lot of money out of it. But his complaint was that the film did kind of simplify Forrest and kind of smoothed off the rough edges and made him this kind of perfect paragon of decency. Right, okay. Whereas in the book, apparently, I've not read the book. Apparently, in the book, he's a little bit more light and shade, a little bit more of a complex character. And so John Goodman, I guess, would be a little bit more of that kind of side. It wouldn't be this, this white knight kind of character. So yeah, that'd be an interesting one.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure what they do with the running plot line if that was as big in the book as it was in the film. Doesn't mean have a runner's body.
No.
I mean, he's a great actor. He's a great actor. He might have transformed because he's one of the great character actors. But yeah, different, very different. But yeah, but I can't imagine anyone but Tom Hanks.
I can imagine some of those people, but I'm trying hard to imagine them.
Yeah.
It's like saying trying to imagine somebody else as Luke Skywalker. You can do it if you try hard.
Yeah, but it's so iconic. It's like,
In fact, it's like trying to imagine somebody else as Han Solo. It's difficult, and that's why nobody wants to watch Han Solo later this year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they're never going to remake Forrest Gump. Because how could you compete? No, it's only going to compare badly. So Jenny as well also had some actresses who turned their role down. Nicole Kidman.
Solid.
Yeah. Jodie Foster.
Would have worked really well.
Yeah, could have been done. And Demi Moore. Do you know Demi Moore?
Not really.
No, she was in Ghost.
Does she look like Monica from Friends?
Yes, well, there's the episode where Monica wants to get the Demi Moore haircut, and she actually
That's what I'm thinking of.
She gets the Dudley Moore haircut. Yeah. But I think Robin Wright did great. She did a very good job. So we're talking about the CGI work in this film, specifically the history scenes where he's put back.
Sure, it's not technically CGI, but yeah.
No, but this film did make use of CGI. It was a very innovative film with CGI because the scenes with Lieutenant Dan, it wasn't a body double. They CGI'd his legs off.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because it was done flawlessly.
You'd think it looked really ropey because it's like 1994, but I couldn't spot the seams at all.
Yeah, it wasn't in every scene. There were a lot of scenes where he was just kneeling.
Yeah.
Which must have really done in his knees.
Oh yeah, they said that he could only sit in the positions for like 10 minutes at a time because it was incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hats off to the film. Also, I was thinking, this film must have had a massive budget. Like some of the scenes in Vietnam, you'd see a helicopter come from far away, come and land on this strip in one take. You'd see Tom Hanks and a few other characters get out with another helicopter in the background, by the way, and then the background helicopter takes off and goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then to somehow get vintage helicopters from the 60s to come and do this. That must have taken a pretty big budget.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a really big achievement. And again, they really innovated with CGI with the crowd scene when he gives the speech at the Vietnam peace protest. Like they had like maybe a quarter of that crowd and they just like duplicated it to make it look like a massive crowd of thousands. Yeah.
Wow.
So it
really
was
well.
Yeah, it did. But yes, some of the scenes of in history, there were some that were cut that they didn't use.
Okay.
I only know of one, but I'm like, thank God they cut that. There was supposed to be a scene where Forrest rescues Martin Luther King from a pack of rabid dogs.
What?
So apparently there was going to be a scene where Martin Luther King is giving a speech. I don't know if this is something that actually happened in history, but apparently there were going to be some police dogs going to be set on him.
Right.
And it was going to be, I believe, the scene was supposed to be Forrest Gump in his blithely, unaware kind of way, starts like playing with the dogs and like calms the dogs down, and then you see Martin Luther King finish his speech successfully. And then I guess that would be how Forrest Gump solved racism. I'm pretty glad they left that one on the cutting room floor. That would have been one too many, definitely.
Yeah, for a few reasons.
For many reasons, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so I want to get to one of our new regular features now.
Yes.
My favourite regular feature, which is Wig Watch.
I knew it was coming.
Wig Watch. Any stand out to you?
Just Jenny through the years.
Jenny had a lot of good wigs.
Yeah.
Jenny through the years, she had a lot of really good
Forrest
wigs.
through the running scenes.
I was going to say, yeah, that was my favourite. So Jenny had some great wigs, just, hippie wigs and, single mom in the 80s wigs. She was working it all. Gary Sinise, Lieutenant Dan, had some good wigs after he graduates. When he graduates? After he becomes a homeless... Where did that come from?
Graduates?
I don't know why I said graduates. After he becomes a homeless person and he suddenly has this, crazy, mad hair.
Never took it that he was homeless.
Oh, he wasn't homeless. Well, he goes a bit off the boil. He loses his legs, and I don't know. Something happens to him. Things go downhill. He loses his legs, he gets the long hair. There's some good wig work there. But yeah, my favourite wig by far is Tom Hanks' facial wig when he's running.
Yes.
It's like that beard is ludicrous with the haircut and the cap, and it's like dreadlocks on his hair. Oh, love it. So that's my pick for wig watching.
He must have had a smell.
He did. He looked like he stank. Just great.
Well, my segment, which is rarely used, but my product placement portion.
Yes.
There's plenty of it in this, isn't there?
There is, yeah. I was looking. I think the reason we haven't really
So
done product
much.
placement corner because the last few films have
Portion.
product placement portion.
Yes.
Okay, sure. We haven't really.
Alliteration, it works.
Okay, sure. This is your section. Call it what you like. Yeah, the last few films we've done haven't really done a lot of product placement because Wall-E kind of is.
There's a couple of little ones in some films. There's normally a Coca-Cola one somewhere.
Yeah.
In this one, obviously, there wasn't because Dr. Pepper were.
Oh, Dr. Pepper owned this one, yeah.
We're sponsoring.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Nike, very
God,
strong.
yes. Very strong.
Awfully strong.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't even wearing a Nike hat when he was running as well.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and of course his shoes. And then all the brands that he creates as well. I'm sure they made well of this.
Oh, God, yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, listen, I was wondering if you might help me, huh? Listen, I'm in the bumper sticker business, and I've been trying to think up a good slogan. And since you have been such a big inspiration to the people around here, I thought you might be able to help me jump into... Whoa, man, you just ran through a big pile of dog shit!
It happens.
What, shit?
Sometimes.
Okay, should we do some drinking games?
Yes, let's. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So, drink whenever he says his own name.
Okay, sure. Yeah, good.
Happens quite a lot.
It's very frequent, yeah. Constantly introducing himself, yeah.
To everyone.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Actually, on the bench, does he introduce himself at all?
No, he doesn't. He just starts talking. That's the only time. Oh, no, I think he does. I think he says...
I think he introduces himself to the first girl.
Yeah. But then you never really see the transitions, do you? It's
No,
it's revealed that someone else has come along, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a funny little runner, because some of them like come and go. Like that first woman could not be less interested.
No, she is by the end, though.
By the end, she's drawn in,
She's
yeah.
like, oh, sorry, my bus is here.
Yeah.
There's that old man who's just like, oh, we're sitting next to Amelia this whole time, we didn't know. And then he just walks off laughing, just like, were you waiting for a bus? Why did you sit down? I've wondered my whole life.
Yeah.
What's his deal? Where's he going? And like, also, it's such a great story that he's so impressed that he's laughing. He just bawled away by the story. This guy's a millionaire. You're really impressed by what he's done. Why are you leaving?
Yeah,
stick around for more.
Absolutely,
it gets better. Yeah. He goes on a run.
He misses the best bit, yeah. So. But I did think like Forrest, his whole thing is like Jenny, and then he finally gets a letter to, come and meet Jenny. It's like, and yet he's got time to sit down and just very leisurely tell the story of his life to anyone who might be listening. Like,
what is he waiting for the bus?
I feel like several buses go by though.
Maybe he's just too
engaged in his story. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe yeah, give it a pass. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, that's good.
Also, why did she tell him to get the bus if it is just like 2 blocks away?
Maybe he just took a wrong turn. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
She just likes fucking with him. She's a monster. I don't know.
That is true. Yeah. That is true.
I'm supposed to go on the number 9 bus to Richmond Street and get off and go 1 block left to 1947 Henry Street, apartment 4.
Why, you don't need to take a bus. Henry Street is just 5 or 6 blocks. Down that way.
Down that way?
Down that way.
It was nice talking to you.
I hope everything works out for you.
So my first one is drink when Gary Sinise, as in Lieutenant Dan, is unnecessarily shirtless.
So most of the boat.
Yeah. He's topless in every scene but the wedding.
His first scene.
Yeah.
There's the stuff in his apartment.
Mm-hmm. Literally every scene he's in.
The stuff in his apartment, that's not unnecessary, though. Like, he was just about to have sex.
Oh, I'm just saying, drink for shirtless Lieutenant Dan is what I'm saying.
Sure.
I felt like the actor was like, okay, look, I'm in the best shape of my life right now.
I want to be remembered for this.
I want to be shirtless in every scene. Just putting it out there.
I think it was a good move.
Yeah, it was just, I'm not complaining. It made me laugh though, because it was very much like, yeah.
I mean, I assume that this is the film that got him Apollo 13.
Oh, totally, yeah. I think this is everyone's.
And not that he's a sex symbol in that, but.
No, exactly. But yeah. I just found it quite funny. I'd forgotten how much topless time he gets in this film.
Yeah.
And it is very impressive that he manages to retain that same physique after losing both of his legs.
Yeah. That doesn't add up at all. Should have green screened some fat onto him.
I guess he's got time to work on his quads, so he can just really focus on the specifics. But yeah,
true.
But yeah, I did find that quite funny. I'm on a boat, topless. I'm in my apartment, topless. I'm in Vietnam, topless. Every scene is great.
But wouldn't you?
No, true. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're both shirtless right now. That's how we record. But yeah.
I'm actually wearing a tie.
Yeah. Just a tie
around my head.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan sure knew his stuff. I felt real lucky he was my lieutenant. He was from a long, great military tradition. Somebody in his family had fought and died in every single American war.
Drink for every time jump.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You never know when they're going to come. You never know how long they're going to be.
And how long has passed, yeah. Because he looks the same. Like, they don't really do much. They age hair through wigs.
Maybe a wig or a beard or something.
Yeah, well, they age hair through the various wigs, but I feel like Forrest, apart from the jump from childhood to Tom Hanks, he looks the same. I think the fact that his hair never changed, which is a character choice, his buzz cut is like always the same from like 20 to 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were points when I was like...
that's quite similar for anybody who's in the army.
Who's
been in the army.
Sure, exactly, yeah. But yeah, the time jumps, I did find it hard to figure out how old he was supposed to be at any given point because he didn't really change much. But yeah, it did go from like 1950 something when he meets Elvis Presley right through to like the 80s when the film ends. So yeah, it's a lot of time passes, but he looks kind of the same. Apart from obviously when he has the big beard.
Yeah. Well, most of the film of Tom Hanks's bit, they're just set over about 10 years. It's sort of like early to mid 60s to early to mid 70s. It's about 10 years that Tom Hanks is playing.
But the end of the film, I'm pretty sure that's like the 80s then. I think he's supposed to be in his 40s by that point, surely.
Is that the 80s?
I think it's the 80s. I'm sure Jenny's grave says like 1985 or something. The film came out in 1994 and I don't feel like...
Maybe you're right. No,
yeah.
I'm not
so I think like maybe 30 years passed.
That would be 20 years. 60s to 80s.
All right, fine. You're right.
You
fine.
making math jokes about me.
All right, no,
recorded.
fine. Whatever. Move on.
Fine, whatever, move on.
Yeah.
Drink whenever he quotes somebody.
Okay.
For example, like Mum always said, life was like a box of chocolate.
Sure, yeah.
Anything like that, or Jenny just told me to run.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that quite a lot.
He does. Well, he learns from the people around him, the people he loves. That's his. He's not someone who like quotes literature and stuff. He's very reliant on the people who love him. So yeah, it's nice. My next one, speaking of Mama Gump. So hints of darkness. Hints that Mama Gump has a dark side.
Like what? Like
what? Naming her son after the founder of the KKK, obviously.
Sure.
But also, I completely forgot that this is the first time I watched the film and picked up on the fact that she sleeps with that principal to get him into that school.
Oh, I've known that for years.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that completely.
Well, I mean, yeah, where's his dad?
Yeah.
I mean, I know she didn't mean to tell him he's on vacation.
Yeah.
I don't think that his dad is dead. I think that his dad is just somewhere else.
Is that Mr. Gump? Mrs. Gump?
He's on vacation.
Mama, what's vacation mean?
Vacation?
Where Daddy went.
Vacation's when you go somewhere and you don't ever come back.
The other one I thought of was that when he becomes the ping pong champion, and she immediately is like, "Let's milk this baby, milk this teat dry." So yeah, there's just ever so slight hints that she's got a little bit of a dark side.
It's very possible.
I'd forgotten how little she's in this.
Yeah, it's not that
I
much,
thought
is
she was in it more, yeah.
Was she not nominated for anything?
No, she was not.
She was great in this.
She was great. She was very good. She was also doing some great hat work. She always had some really good flowery hats and some really good floral print dresses. She was really, of everyone, she was really laying on that southern accent so thick.
Yes, she was.
She was ladling it on with a spoon. It was like...
What does normal mean anyway? He might be a bit on the slow side. But my boy Forrest is going to get the same opportunities as everyone else. He's not going to some special school to learn how to retread ties. We're talking about 5 little points here. There must be something can be done.
But like her aging makeup, I never noticed for a long time. I just always thought of her as an old actor until I saw her in the Spider-Man films from like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And she looks like that, and I was like, has she just stayed at like 60 for about the past 30 years?
Well,
and like, no, just it turns out the Asian makeup they used was so good, it looks exactly like Sally Field's 30 years in the future.
Well, this is the thing. This is one of the famous kind of things about this film that is a classic Hollywood is sexist kind of thing. So, in this film, she plays Tom Hanks' mother. Less than 10 years before, they were both in a film called Punchline, in which she played his love interest.
That'd be really weird to watch.
Yeah. Now it would be. So, but she's not that much older than... I think Sally Field is maybe 10 years older than Tom Hanks. She's not old enough to be his mother, by any means.
No, well, that's why they used aging makeup.
Of course, what I'm saying is that it's like she went from playing his love interest to playing his mother, which is like the classic Hollywood woman trajectory kind of thing, which is a shame. I mean, she's great. She was great in this role. It's a classic role, but like...
Well, I think it was good to do because she's the right age when he's a child, and it's great to have the same actress playing a young and old version, and it's much easier, especially then in the 90s, whenever this was made, to make somebody look older than it is to make somebody look younger. Because now you can do it with CGI, and if you've got a good budget, it can look flawless.
Yeah.
But back then, no. I think we've just about managed to do it now in the last few years.
Sure. I just really had a lot of fun imagining the meeting with her agent, where it's like she gets sent the script, this amazing new film that's getting made. It's like, so, we want to reteam you and Hanks, back together again on the screen. Great, I love the script, so I guess I'm playing Jenny? Well... She must have been pissed.
It's like watching a film now with Kate Winslet playing Leonardo DiCaprio's mum.
Exactly. That was exactly what it would be, yeah.
But it would have to be a film where there's somebody playing a young Leo as well.
Yeah, sure.
And so then there's the right age difference.
To be fair, I think Kate Winslet is younger than Leonardo DiCaprio. There's like 2 years between them at most.
But yeah.
Rather than 10. But yeah, she must have been a little bit like, what? I'm playing his mother now?
Well, I think Meryl Streep said something like, I forget what decade it was she turned, but she said, when I turned 50, within the first few months, I was offered 3 roles as playing a witch.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Drink whenever he is told what to do, and then drink again if he takes it literally.
Oh, okay, that's good. Examples?
Well, Run Forrest Run's the obvious one.
Yes.
There was good motivation for that. the situation in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
If you see danger, just run from it.
Yeah.
And like
that saves his life.
He just ran from it so far, like, where am I?
Yeah.
Which was good. Becoming a shrimp boat captain.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Despite all odds.
Yeah. Yeah. The shrimp boat plotline, I thought it was interesting. The reason his shrimping boat business does really well is because there's a horrible flood and all of the other boats get destroyed.
Yes.
It's not like he just accidentally finds them an amazing way of being a good shrimper. So he's really benefiting from a lot of people's misfortune there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how shrimping works.
Just put it out there, yeah.
Hurricane Carmen came through here yesterday, destroying nearly everything in its path. And as in other towns up and down the coast, Biola Battery's entire shrimping industry has fallen victim to Carmen and has been left in utter ruin. Speaking with local officials, this reporter has learned, in fact, only one shrimping boat actually survived the storm.
Louise, there's Forrest.
After that, shrimping was easy. And since people still needed them shrimps for shrimp cocktails and barbecues and all, and we were the only boat left standing, Mama Gump shrimp's what they got.
I only had one more, which was drink every time you accidentally invent something that makes someone else super rich. So
we've got the T-shirt.
T-shirt,
We've got slogan.
Bubba Gump shrimp, which makes Lieutenant Dan very rich. Him as well, but Lieutenant Dan also gets very rich. I guess Elvis Presley's dance.
Yeah.
He also accidentally writes Imagine. You know?
Yeah. Then Imagine.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot there.
He's got a lot. He does spread it around. You know, he spreads the wealth.
I'm sure people got rich off the Watergate thing.
Probably, yeah.
And he was apparently the one who discovered that.
Yeah. We said this after we got out of the post. We both need to read up on Watergate because it doesn't really get drilled.
What was Watergate?
Yeah.
What happened?
Don't judge us. We're British. It's not. We learn about Henry VIII. We don't learn about this.
Was it like a mill? You know, where the water comes through.
It was not literally a Watergate. I know that much. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. No. There was a hotel involved.
Yeah.
The hotel did it have a moat?
I don't think there was a moat.
Okay.
Yeah, but no,
I don't know.
Yeah, sir. You might want to send a maintenance man over to that office across the way. The lights are off and they must be looking for a fuse box or something because them flashlights, they're keeping me awake. Thank you. Good night.
Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow. Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president at that hour in this office.
Any more?
No, I'm done.
Cool. Should we get to some sequels?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so I'll go first this week.
Yes.
Cool. Before I start, I should mention this because our listeners certainly like to mention it. There is a legitimate sequel to this film. Not to the film.
Oh, those people tweeted at us.
Of course they have. There's every time. There's lots of pick at us.
Nah, we love you.
We do love you. Please keep listening. So yeah, this film is based on a novel, and there was a follow-up novel that actually came out after the film was adapted. So it went original novel, film, sequel book.
Mm-hmm.
So the second novel, which they were talking about making into a film, but then it got stuck in development hell.
It was the first novel just titled Forrest Gump.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know what this one was called. Oh, it's called Gump and Co.
Gump and Co.
Gump and Co.
Mm-hmm.
By Winston Groom, the same writer.
Okay.
I've not read the book. I have a book. But apparently the book references the film. So it's Forrest Gump telling his story after Hollywood has made a film about Forrest Gump starring Tom Hanks.
That is meta.
It's so meta. And so in the film, Forrest meets Tom Hanks. I think that's why it never got made. It'd be incredibly hard to film.
Yeah. No, I don't think that'd be difficult to film.
Do you think they'd have Tom Hanks playing two roles? Or?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
He plays himself sometimes.
Sure, yeah.
He did it in 30 Rock. Mm. Oh, I'd really like to see that.
I think the moment's passed, unfortunately.
I guess it has, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my sequel, though. I mean, you've already anticipated it.
Is it Split?
It's not Split. No, you mentioned...
Is it The Truman Show?
You guessed it within 10 minutes of the episode. You know what's happening. So my sequel, it's a direct sequel. Well, it's not a direct sequel, actually. My sequel is Forrest Gump 2, Jenny's Side.
Oh, God, that is... Whew, I hit the nail on the head there.
Yes. The title is, of course, stolen from 30 Rock. Jenna's Side.
Ah, yeah.
A good joke is worth repeating.
Mm-hmm.
Liz, I'm so mad at you for that thing you did. Am I trying to instigate fights by throwing wine at people just to get on camera? And maybe also promote my new lifestyle website, genocide.com? Of course not.
God, Jenna, I told you not to buy that domain name. Say it out loud.
Genocide. Genocide. I'm not hearing it, Liz.
The original film tells Forrest's life story, obviously, with flashes every now and again to what Jenny's doing as parallel as she goes travelling around the world and falls into all kinds of misadventures. So this film is going to just be the opposite. It's going to be all Jenny's perspective on the story.
Great.
With maybe some flashes to Forrest just to connect it. So obviously, if we're making this in 2018, time has passed, so we're probably going to have to recast. So who do you think could play Jenny now?
The only person that's on my head for two reasons. One, because they're blonde, and two, because the name is Jenny, is Jennifer Lawrence.
I actually thought the same.
Yeah?
I've been a bit hard on Jennifer Lawrence in recent episodes, but I actually think she could be good at this.
Yeah?
She could do the southern accent, I think
she does she's got great range.
I think she's a good actress. I just think she has limited... There's things she's good at and things she's not. But this, I think she could be very good. So I'd actually totally endorse Jennifer Lawrence in this role. So it basically does retell the events of the story from Jenny's perspective, basically.
Sure.
And she gets to narrate the whole thing. So much like Forrest Gump is very heavily narrated by Tom Hanks' character. This film is narrated by Jenny.
Is it set in a way like if she sat at a bus stop?
Maybe, or maybe it's just in her own head. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's a bit more introverted, or maybe she's in therapy. Who knows? There's got to be something. Yeah, maybe she's having therapy. Having therapy might work.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I like the idea that she's narrating in the same way that Forrest is, but she's a lot more negative and cynical about the world because her life hasn't turned out as well. So whereas he starts with his opening line is Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. Good.
My accent's better.
I know. So I was thinking Jenny's might.
Right, you've got me beat on every other accent, including probably English
and Welsh.
Yeah, my Welsh voice just turns Indian. So.
True, yeah. So whereas he says life is like a box of chocolate, I think hers might be something like Papa always said life was like a piece of dog shit. If you don't watch out, you're gonna step in it. Don't know what that means, but
expect the worst.
Expect the worst. Yeah.
That works really well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you. Yeah, good. So I like the idea that her whole story is a bit more cynical and jaded, basically.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Yeah. So we open with her as a child again, played by some child actress who we don't need to cast. And we see a lot more of her horribly abusive childhood. I don't want to be too grim on this, but I definitely think we need to dig into that a little bit more and see. Maybe her mum died in childbirth or something, and that's why her father blames her.
Remember, she's got some sisters.
Yeah, they don't come up. I've not really mentioned those either because they were hard to fill in, but because you never see them.
Yeah.
So I've not really brought that in. Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. Doesn't matter. So her mum dies, and she has this horribly abusive father, sexually and physically violent abusive father. Early in life, she befriends this mentally challenged boy with bad legs called Forrest Gump, played by, at this point, some child actor. Doesn't really matter who. Jacob Tremblay, why not? If we ever get an agency, he's going to be so busy. He's all we know. But they bond. And he's the only person who's ever kind to her. It wasn't the original film. And, it's the same, exactly the same. It's a mirror image of the same plot. As I say, it's more focused on her growing up and her enduring this horrible abuse. And then eventually her father obviously goes to jail. We're never quite clear why, whether he gets caught for abusing her, whether he just generally goes to jail for something. I don't know. But she gets sent to live with her grandma on the trailer park, as the film mentions. But she's still, obviously, as she grows up, she's still haunted by all this abuse, as most abuse sufferers are. It's something that causes a lot of profound psychological damage, which I think it did for Jenny. So fast forward a bit, she goes to college, and we kind of replay that scene where she kind of sort of sleeps with him. Well, where she lets him touch her boob and then he spaffs into her nightgown straight away.
Yeah.
Which I loved. It was very funny. It was sweet and it was funny. Especially when it panned to her roommate just listening to the whole thing, like, that's my bath towel.
The third sequel, the roommate's point of view.
The roommate's point of view, totally, yeah. I loved that. Especially when it's like, oh, that's my roommate's bath towel, it doesn't matter. And she's just like, oh. Brilliant. But through the college scenes, I want to really show something the film hinted at but didn't really get into, which is that Jenny's actually a very intelligent character. And she loves to read, she loves books, she has real potential, she could be something really special. But people only ever, through her whole life, people only ever judge her based on her appearance because she's very beautiful. So she's constantly being objectified and belittled, and she's already got low self-esteem because of what happened to her in her childhood, and it just chips away at her. And it's tragic because even though Forrest loves her absolutely unconditionally and is the best person in her life, he doesn't appreciate her intellect because that's not his speed, that's not what he judges people on. They're never going to sit down and talk about the meaning of life in any serious detail because he just doesn't have that capacity. So even though he loves her very sincerely, he doesn't give her the fulfillment that she needs. He just can't. It just isn't in him to give her, that sense of that she's actually an intelligent, independent woman that she really wants to be. She loves him and she appreciates what a good thing he is in her life, but it just creates a little barrier there and it just grinds away to it a little bit. So she's at college trying to get through. She literally has no money. It seems that she's from a very poor background anyway. She's living on a trailer park with her grandma. So to get through to college, she's forced to take a job as a stripper. just to make money, just literally to pay her tuition fees. It's all she can do. So she finds that really humiliating, of course, but she has to just do it. And while she's doing stripping or whatever, working in this bar, she gets noticed by this sleazy guy who offers to pay her, like, let's say $500 to take some photos, like erotic photos, like topless photos. And it's more money than she makes in a month at this bar, so she can't really afford to say no. So she reluctantly says yes, because she's desperate. She agrees to pose for these photos, reluctantly, and then she's horrified to discover sometime later that this photographer has sold them to Playboy. And so they're all over the country in this magazine now. Because you see that scene in the army where Forrest is in the army barracks and he reopens the magazine and there she is. And then the voiceover says Jenny got into trouble for some photos she took in college.
Hey, Gump. Get a load of the tits on her.
Turns out, Jenny had gotten into some trouble over some photos of her in her college sweater, and she was thrown out of school.
So I'm just explaining her motivations for that. She didn't realise what was going to happen. And because of that, it gets back to her college professors and she gets kicked out of college. It's a scandal. So now her life is just ruined. Just tragedy on top of tragedy. So she's expelled from college and she keeps working at the strip bar. She literally has no money coming in. She needs to make ends meet. But she still has dreams of this singing career. She mentions a few times she wants to be an artist. She wants to be a singer in the original film.
Yeah.
So she begs the manager of the bar to let her, go up on stage and play guitar and sing. And he's like, no, it's a strip club. We don't do that. But then she grinds him down. And then, as we see in the film, he's like, fine, we'll let you do a number if you must, but you've got to be naked doing it. So again, it's humiliating, it's horrible, but it's the only chance she's got to express herself, so she agrees. So that leads us to the scene, obviously, where she's playing guitar naked on stage, singing a very poignant Bob Dylan song. But all the crowd are just like gross guys who just are trying to like touch her and abuse her and stuff. So. However, we don't go straight to the scene where Forrest rescues her. Let's say she does that for a while. So before that happens, something else happens. Because I think this is an important point where her character changes a bit in the film that I wanted to dig into a little bit. So she's doing that. She's working at the strip bar, making ends meet. Life's not going terribly well. And then another tragedy hits when she hears that her grandma has fallen ill. Grandma is dying, basically. So she has to rush home to the trailer park or to Alabama and visit her grandma to say goodbye. This grandma has treated her well. This is not a nasty character in her life. This is another person who treats her well. So this grandma is on her deathbed. They're having an emotional kind of, final talk. And it's similar to that scene where Forrest says goodbye to Mama Gump, Sally Field. She's like, it's my time, all that kind of stuff. But this one has a bit of a darker side because she's saying goodbye to her grandma. And her grandma's like, how are you going to look out for yourself in this world? And she's like, it's okay. Don't worry, Grandma. Forrest will always be there to look after me. I've got this friend, Forrest. He'll always be there for me. And then the grandma's like, that boy loves you, doesn't he? And he's like, yes, he does. He loves me. He's a good person. And she's like, I need to tell you something. She's like, basically, the grandma says to her, look, there's something you need to know about Forrest. Your daddy, many years ago, he had an affair with Mama Gump.
Oh, God.
Well, because there's no mother and there's no father. No, he has no dad. She has no mum. So I was like,
So they're brother and sister?
Half brother, not full.
Yeah.
But yeah, bearing in mind, she's already had that scene where she's like letting get a bit of boob. So it's already gone into a bit of a Lannister vibe.
Oh dear, we're getting into Star Wars territory.
We're getting a bit, yeah. So it's like, he must never know. But you must never ever let him love you like that because
this is
you
a
guys,
bold direction, John.
It is. I don't like it myself, but I thought of it and it was just too good.
It does fit very well.
Yeah, so she gets this horrible reveal that Forrest is her half-brother, and that just sends her into a complete tailspin. Like, that just completely breaks her. Like, the one good thing in her life is now poisoned by this, incestuous kind of... It's not her fault. It's a tragedy. So that's why when he does rescue her, I think that's the part in the film when she really starts to pull away from him. That's the first time she's like, you can't just stay away from me. Stay away from me. So I think maybe that's why. Maybe she's just learnt this horrible secret. And she can't tell him because it would crush him. So she has to keep this to herself. So she can't be like, this is why, because he would never understand. So it's just like, yeah, you need to just stay the hell away from me. And so for the whole film, we see now that she's torn between the fact that he's the only person who loves her, but also she just can't be with him. She literally can't. So yeah, we have that scene where he rescues her from the naked guitar playing gig. And then that's where we see she first starts thinking about suicide because her life has really hit rock bottom. And then, so then we see, the film makes it look a little bit like she's maybe selfishly ditching him all the time, but really she's just trying to keep away from him for his own safety and his own protection.
Yeah.
But she can't because this man is everywhere because he keeps getting involved in historical things. Like, so every time she tries to like move her life away from Forrest, there he is. Suddenly he's at a Vietnam peace protest. And and obviously she can't resist, she loves him. So, you know, she sees him, she's like, oh my God, it's Forrest, and like they reconnect. And then she wants us to remind herself, no, this is wrong, I need to keep away from him, etc. We see the scene at the protest rally where the reunion, we see that from her side as well. Then we see how getting back in touch with him triggers all her self-loathing again. And she feels really guilty for, you know, keeping in touch with him. So it's just a cycle of depression. So then we see her, like, you know, she runs away again, falls into like the hippie years, becomes a major drug addict, has a lot of abusive boyfriends, etc. So it's a dark story. Eventually she hits rock bottom. You know, she's staying in with some terrible guy, she's addicted to drugs, and she hears through the grapevine somehow, I don't know, maybe she's got friends or family still living in Alabama, that Mama Gump has passed away. Yeah. No relation of hers, but still. Yeah. But then she's like, immediately she's worried that how's Forrest going to take this? Because she knows that basically Forrest has two people in his life. His mother and her. That's basically it. So then she can't resist. She just has to go and make sure he's okay. Like, because it's tormenting her. So against all her better judgment, she goes back, and that's the scene where she comes back to Alabama and just out of the blue is back in Forrest's life. And they go back to their old pattern where they're best friends and they're bonding again, and it's beautiful, it's lovely, they're both happy, it's great. Until obviously there's that heart-wrenching scene in the original film where he's like, why don't you love me, Jenny? It's like, oh, it broke me.
Will you marry me? I'd make a good husband, Jenny.
You would, Forrest.
But you won't marry me.
You don't want to marry me.
Why don't you love me, Jenny? I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
She still can't tell him. But she has this moment of weakness where she just feels so bad and overwhelmed by his goodness and how much he loves her. And they sleep together, as we see in the film.
Yeah.
And that's why the next day she's like, she leaves because then she's utterly racked with guilt and, you know, the terrible thing that's happened. And obviously when she then leaves and finds out she's pregnant, it's even worse. Then it's like, oh my God, you know, it's everything that could possibly have gone wrong. So she does a runner. She leaves. Then along the line, she finds out that she's got this, you know, disease that is never determined. Like, I assume from her drug addict days or something, it's supposed to be like hepatitis or something. Finds out she's sick, whatever. But she also kind of rebuilds her life. If nothing else, she manages to get away from drugs and abusive people, and she manages to piece her life back together in some way. But then she finds out that she's dying, and she realizes that in spite of everything, the only person who could possibly raise little Forrest is Forrest. He's clearly the best person to be with. And also, they've got lucky, and it seems like Forrest Jr. has no signs of any serious genetic problems from the inbreeding. Except maybe he's got slightly webbed toes or something, but
Wow.
But nothing major. No, you know, he's nothing major. No, it adds another layer to that whole. Is he smart? You know.
Isn't he beautiful?
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But is he smart?
He's very smart. He's one of the smartest in his class.
So she goes back to Forrest, you know.
He's smart, and he's definitely going to be an Olympic swimmer when he gets
Yeah,
older.
he's going to be an Oscar-nominated child actor. He's going to have some lost years, but you know, he might pull it back around. So, realizing her days are numbered, she reaches back out to Forrest, reconnects, selflessly agrees to marry him, even though she knows it's wrong. But she never tells him. And I didn't get the impression that they had a sex life after that. I mean, they could. The film kind of draws a veil over it. So I'm thinking they don't. I think for him, love is much more about the giving of the emotion and stuff. Yeah. But the point is, it's not. While a lot of people think that Jenny marries him at the end for his money or is quite selfish.
Why would everybody think that she marries him for his money?
Well, he's a millionaire at this point.
Yeah, but she's dying.
Yeah, but
if she
so
dies in a year.
True, but her son might get the money. I'm just repeating criticisms that are often laid at Jenny from critics. I don't agree with them. But this is me justifying.
I don't agree with it either. I'm just wondering where somebody's going to get that from.
Yeah.
Like, she's not a gold digger.
No, she's not. But some people think she is. Yeah.
She's the one who's dying, though.
I know, but it's like gold digging for her son. I think is the idea. But I don't know. It's a quandary.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I don't think that's true.
His son, though.
His son, true. Exactly. So anyway, but long story short, she goes home. They get married, and she takes her terrible, terrible secret to the grave. She never tells him. Never tells the son. Never tells the soul. Nobody knows. So the movie ends with her dying. You know, in bed. And you know, she selflessly just takes that secret to the grave and leaves her son with the man she loves, in spite of everything, with the son, and she leaves them this beautiful gift of this life that they can have together. And then the movie ends with her dying and birds flying through the air. Beautiful, She wishes she could fly, she does.
Lovely.
And then the credits roll, and that's the end.
Wow.
So apart from the incest, I think that was quite sweet.
Incest is the majority.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. That's told really well. Yeah, it's a good concept. It's a bold concept.
Yeah.
That'd be difficult to sell.
Yeah, the thing is
that could only be a twist revealed in the cinema. You couldn't put that in a trailer.
No, because that's the whole film. Yeah, yeah. No, there's not much to it. It has to be like a TV series or something.
Well, I mean, you couldn't put that reveal of
sure.
the brother and sister in the trailer.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it's the big shocker. No, I mean, I don't really. I like the idea. I mean, as an idea, when I thought about it, I was like, oh, he doesn't have a mum, and she doesn't have. No, he doesn't have a dad, and she doesn't have a mum. Ooh, and I was like, oh, that'll work for this show. But I actually don't want it to be the truth. I feel like Jenny doesn't need to have this horrible secret for her to not be a bitch. She's just not a bitch. I just think people are too harsh on her.
You've given a good explanation to the whole film. Yeah. To all her decisions and everything that she's done. And yeah, that does work.
Cool. Well, if you need that, then imagine that's what's happened. Yeah. So.
I might not.
No, I don't mean you. I'm talking to people who are mean about Jenny.
Sure. Yeah.
Any questions?
That's all I've got.
Cool.
All right. My turn.
Great.
So, mine is a TV show. 13 or so episodes long.
Netflix?
I would say so.
Yeah, sure.
It's always a solid bet, but it doesn't need to be. I mean, it's not going to be a massively controversial TV show or anything. It would work out anyway.
Sure.
Now, this TV show does assume a few quite serious changes to the film.
Right, okay.
So, it would be assuming that Jenny does not have a baby and does not get ill and die.
Oh, right. It's interesting. Okay.
So, let's just say it picks up midway through the film, or I don't know, just in the bit where he finishes running, but before he gets the letter from Jenny, finding out she's got a child and is dying.
So Jenny's not in his life at this point?
Maybe, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have to use your imagination with some of this, but we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
So, Forrest Gump is obviously going to be the lead of this.
Right, okay.
Obviously needs to be recast. Tom Hanks has aged out of the role now. There's only one person that I could think of.
Well, Hanks?
Yes, it is.
Colin Hanks, of course.
I mean, he looks quite a bit like his dad, and
yes, he does.
I've not seen him in much, but
sure.
I couldn't think of anybody better.
Yeah, he might fear typecasting a little bit, but sure.
Maybe, I don't know.
No, I agree. That's a good choice.
I mean, the idea that I've come up with for this series, I think would be quite fun. It's not necessarily a big, serious, career-defining role, but it would be quite good.
Sure.
So, episode 1 is where I've got most of my plot here.
Oh, sure. You're not going through all 13? No.
I will go through all 13.
Oh, wow, okay.
But episode 1's the longest.
Okay.
So Forrest Gump is in New York for some unknown reason.
So this is after he's done his running, but before Jenny sends him a letter?
Let's assume that Jenny's not going to send that letter and reveal that she has a child and is sick.
Okay, sure.
That's just
not here.
That's not in canon.
Cool, okay.
So...
It was all a dream.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We pick up in New York, and he's walking down the street when he gets crowded by a large group of school children on a school trip or something.
Okay.
Maybe in a way that he can't sort of walk out of the crowd or anything. He just gets absorbed into this crowd and gets very confused and bustled. And then they all go into a building, but he sees that there's one child who's been left behind and nobody's actually noticed that there's just one child on the street just lost completely. Mm-hmm. So far as being the angel that he is, he goes to this child and says, "Oh, I think they went in there. Let me take you in there." And so he takes the child into the building, and as he enters. Sorry, the moment he enters, he watches the lift doors close with the whole class in it, and it's like, oh no. And so he's got to go and find where they've gone. Goes to reception, they say they've gone to the 6th floor, so they go up there. Which is where he goes, returns the kid to the class, no teachers notice, nobody notices, the kid just runs off, and then they all just run along and play, or whatever's going on the school trip.
Sure.
And Forrest just smiles at them, just happy with what he's done, and a good deed he's done.
Okay.
And as he's doing that, somebody pokes their head around the door and shouts, "Next!" And then Forrest looks around and they catch his eye. Forrest is like, well, me? And they're like, yeah, you. Come in here. So goes into the room, is instructed, takes a seat in front of a desk with this person sitting behind it. And he's fallen into a job interview by accident.
Oh, okay. As he often does in this film, he just falls into a situation just purely by accident.
Exactly, yeah.
So is he interviewing to be a teacher?
No. So yeah, he goes through this whole job interview, obviously answering every question completely literally without any thought or sort of tactically trying to get the job or anything. Maybe he doesn't realise what's going on. He's just like, yeah, my name's Forrest Gump, my social security number is this.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, well, everything checks out here. Can you can you come on a Monday? Well, yeah. That was bad.
Good Forrest. Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that. So I say, welcome to the company, Mr. Gump, and shake his hand. So he goes off. He doesn't really realise that he's just got a job.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't plan on it. Obviously didn't need it.
That's what these nice people are asking me some nice questions, and I'll go about my day.
Yeah. He comes back on Monday and goes up to the same floor, and they start showing him the ropes, and he's just working in computers or something, and quite quickly works out that it's a toy company.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And so, there's one point where he's walking down the corridor, just at lunch or something, and he bumps into the CEO, like physically bumps into him, knocks him over, papers fly everywhere.
Classic comedy.
Who's
playing the CEO?
I've not cast anyone. Be an older gentleman.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
We'll
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, there we go.
Correct.
Anthony Hopkins is playing it. Yeah, and so that happens, and that's how they meet. Maybe a couple of scenes later, he's found himself in a toy shop, and he's playing around with the toys, and the same CEO comes along and says, "Hey, don't you work for me?" He's like, yeah? And then they have this scene together with playing with toys. Do you not see where I'm going with this yet?
Is it big?
Yes.
Right, okay, sure, yeah.
I'd stopped writing ages ago. I was just trying to just go until you stopped me.
Well, some of us have respect for the art of storytelling. We don't just jump in and ruin it 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, and so essentially episode 1 will just go through the events of Big.
Okay, I like it. Cool.
Can you see where I'm going for this show?
I can a little bit, yeah. Are we working through the Tom Hanks classic or Tom Hanks movies?
Yes, we are.
Oh, great. Okay, what's next?
So next is a film called A League of Their Own.
Okay. I've not seen that one.
Forrest Gump starts the episode sitting on a bench in Seattle, I believe.
Sure.
And he's talking about baseball with somebody, and somebody overhears him and asks if they'd like to coach their team of women's baseball. And by coincidence, Jenny's on the team.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot of coincidence in Forrest Gump.
There is, that's fair, yeah.
That'd be episode 2. You may have noticed I have not seen that film either.
Whiz past, yeah. Madonna's involved in some way.
Episode 3, Apollo 13.
Okay, Forrest in space.
Forrest remembers how his mum always said he could be anything he wanted. So he applies to be an astronaut.
Did you know in the original Forrest Gump he does go to space?
Oh, great. I'd have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, that's in the book, obviously.
So he applies and gets very quickly and instantly accepted into NASA. Turns out they've got an opening on their next space shuttle and they really need him to go.
Sure.
Like they're desperate need for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So he does it. As the ship takes off, something breaks, and so when they're in early orbit, they find out they're not going to be able to go to the moon. And so he's instructed, as the captain of the ship, he needs to get into the escape pod and just abandon ship and go back to Earth.
Sure.
But he's like, I can't leave those other guys up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, the hero he is, picks up skills he got from his army days or whatever, and successfully pilots the ship down to Earth and saves everybody.
I hope this doesn't come across offensive, but I really love the idea of Forrest Gump in his Forrest Gump voice going, "We need to engage the rear thrusters."
Yeah, and so then he wakes up in Lieutenant Dan's house and explains the whole thing to him. Turns out the whole thing was a dream.
Of course it was.
Thought that was a bit extravagant.
Yeah. And yeah, as I say, it did happen in the book. So.
Episode 4, Toy Story.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Yeah, okay.
Forrest and his women's baseball team.
Okay.
Which we have established before. They're all getting along very well, winning all the games. Everything's going perfectly. They're moving away up the league and potentially going to win. When all of a sudden, a new manager comes to the team, played by Tim Allen.
Ooh.
This guy used to be a general in NASA and actually goes by the nickname of Buzz.
Oh, I like it.
He's got to that point in his career when, he can no longer really work for NASA, but he still wants to do something. So change of career, he's going to manage a baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Buzz has a very big personality, and all the team really love him. And unfortunately, Forrest is just kind of taking a back seat to all this. Nobody likes him anymore. And also, Forrest doesn't think that Buzz's intentions are very good.
Okay.
Due to some scenario, Buzz and Forrest need to take a road trip together and bond over some kind of common threat.
Okay. I like that. So it's not actually Toy Story. It's just kind of very subtly referencing it by having the same actors.
Yeah, I couldn't really make him like a cowboy meeting a space.
No, that's fair.
I'll try my best.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like that a lot. That's fun.
Episode 5, Castaway.
Oh, the greatest. Yeah.
Forrest gets in a plane crash and is washed up on a desert island.
God, he has an eventful life.
Doesn't he just? He learns to survive and also had to communicate with local wildlife. I would love to see Colin Hanks as Forrest Gump, trying to communicate with orangutans.
Don't gesture to me.
Why not?
Fucking sloth.
Yeah, so he makes best friends with a bottle of Dr. Pepper. Named Doc.
Named Doc, sure. Yeah. You draw a little smiley face on it, yeah.
Correct. And never opens a box until after he's rescued, which turns out to be a pop-up fishing boat.
Of course. It seems like he would do that, yeah.
Yeah. Episode 6, Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, wow. We're going right through the Tom Hanks discography now.
Burning through.
Burning through, cool.
Forrest spends the episode trying to trace a dog, which is run off with his favourite ping pong paddle.
Oh, okay.
The end.
The end. That's definitely going to be the highest rating. That's the one that submit to the Emmys and the Golden Globes, right? Yeah.
The Terminal.
Great. Not seen it, have you?
Great film.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So do you know what it's about?
He's an immigrant who sleeps in an airport, right?
Okay, well, this actually sums up the plot quite well. So, Forrest gets on a plane to go and see Jenny, who is now in some Eastern European country for some reason.
Oh, Jenny's having an eventful time as well.
Yeah, she did in the film.
True.
War breaks out between that country and the US.
Sure.
While Forrest is on the plane.
Right, okay.
So, mid-journey. As he arrives into the airport, they won't let him leave the airport, but also they will not charter a flight back to the US.
Okay.
He's stuck in the airport. He lived there for about 5 years.
Wow.
In the airport.
Okay.
Not allowed to leave. Just got to live off airport food.
Does he grow his giant facial wig again? He would, surely.
No, I don't believe he does. He does actually shave in the bathroom.
Oh, okay, fine.
As other people do. Jenny is allowed to stay in the country. Even though as an American, she's not allowed to fly home.
Right,
She's not allowed to enter the airport.
I get it.
So they can only communicate through the glass.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Like mimes.
Yeah.
This is bad podcasting.
Harry's doing a really great trapped in a box routine right now.
It was awful.
It's very convincing. Yeah.
So they can only talk through the rare open window that you get in an airport.
Sure.
And also the fleeting moment when a door is open and slightly swinging closed.
Right, I get it. Cool.
That's
I'm just imagining that really. How are you doing?
Episode 8, The Polar Express.
Right, okay, burning through.
Right, now he's a train driver to the North Pole or something. I don't know, I've not seen it. What happens?
I don't know, it's a Christmas film?
It's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Trains.
Have you got anything more? Is that?
Nope.
Okay, move on.
Episode 9, The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, wow. Not a high point in Tom Hanks' career.
No.
Why does he keep making these?
I don't know.
He doesn't need these.
There's 3 of these and 3 Toy Stories. Yeah. Why has that happened?
Maybe he's contractually obliged to do all 3.
Anyway, let's get through this.
Okay.
When he gets back from the North Pole, there is a very convoluted plot unfolding based around Christianity.
Sure.
Forrest, being a good Christian he is, says he's going to help in any way he can. So he tries to steal the Mona Lisa.
Okay, he's enlisted by someone to steal the Mona Lisa.
Yes.
Okay.
In doing so, FBI agents follow him, and they find evidence of a plot to destroy the Vatican. They stop it from happening and ban Forrest from entering France or Italy or the Vatican ever again.
Oh no.
Forrest was just happy he could help.
Yes. Is Jenny playing the Audrey Tattoo role in that first film?
Nice.
Yeah.
Good one. Yes.
I feel like Jenny should keep popping up as his kind of girl Friday.
Definitely. Episode 10, Cloud Atlas.
Did not see this. Did you see this?
Twice.
You watched this film twice?
Awful film.
Why did you watch it twice if it was so bad?
I thought that there was a lot that I could get out of it that I didn't get the first time, and that's why I didn't appreciate it the first time.
Okay.
I didn't appreciate it the second time either, so I'm just ruling it out. It's gone.
Okay.
Hate it.
Never seen it. Couldn't tell you.
So do you know what that one's about? Vaguely?
Not really.
So Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, Hugh Grant even, and a few others, they all play loads of different characters through very different points in history.
Right.
Past, present, and future. Potentially on a different world. I'm not too sure. I didn't really get it that well. Oh, and Hugo Weaving. Cross-dressers at one point.
Nice. Not the first time.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. Jim Broadbent's in it. He's the best character.
Well, of course.
It had potential to be really good. The film itself could have been much better if it was a TV show.
Okay.
But anyway, back to this.
Which is a TV show, fortunately. Yeah.
Forrest finds himself in an acting group where the same cast are acting stories from past, present, and future.
Okay.
And also dress up as different races. Forrest has a great time, but the audience is very small and the reviews are awful.
Okay. Much like the reaction to the film.
Exactly.
Okay, I like its commentary.
By the way, they make Hugh Grant Asian in one.
Oh, that seems like a bad idea.
They do make Asian people Caucasian as well.
Okay, so it's back and forth.
It definitely goes both ways.
Okay.
But it's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel okay.
No.
I wouldn't call that film racist.
No.
Because like I say, it does do both.
It's just odd. Yeah.
And there's definitely plot reasoning for it, and it is all based on a book, so maybe that is the case.
Sure.
But it's just weird, and the payoff's not good enough.
Well, I look forward to seeing it.
Episode 11, Captain Phillips.
Okay.
Forrest is working on a cargo boat.
Mhm.
See that happening for whatever reason. We don't need the backstory.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden they get taken over by pirates.
Sure.
They injure a lot of the crew, but Forrest and everybody else who's not injured, they hide in the very bottom of the ship, in the dark corner, try not to be found. Forrest kind of repeats what happened in Vietnam. He's like, I've got to save everyone! So he goes out to rescue all his injured crewmates, which he does one by one. Once he's done that, he sees that he really needs to stop these pirates somehow. So he sets up a lot of traps, very Home Alone style. We get a nice good montage of all the pirates getting, like, I don't know, punched off the ship with like a boxing glove or something. And happily ever after.
Great. You know what I've been thinking while listening to all of these is that this is a lot of action for one man's life.
Yes.
And I was thinking, actually, what they do in the original film a lot is that they do flashbacks to people's, especially it's most obvious with Lieutenant Dan. I think they do it with Forrest as well, though, where they'll show like his past, his ancestors, but with the same actor. Like that scene where you see Lieutenant Dan's forefathers have all been killed in a war and stuff. It's like his destiny. So maybe this series is like, maybe Forrest Gump is actually immortal or something. That could be interesting, and that's why he's living all these different lives and all these different timelines.
That's true.
I mean, that could make a really interesting series.
Very true.
Yeah. Does that work, or are you building up to his death?
No.
Okay.
That works.
Cool.
A lot of these are told vaguely around the same time, but
I guess that, I mean, they're all...
That last one was a bit more recent.
Yeah, sure.
I guess. And then this one I'm about to get to now is a bit more sort of back in the 80s, I think.
Sure, okay.
Bridge of Spies.
Okay, yeah.
Episode 12. During the Cold War, Forrest uses his super literal language to negotiate a spy trade. It actually works way better than expected and actually ends the Cold War.
Wow. Good. Forrest is getting more competent with every passing story. It's like...
Well, think about how competent he is on this one.
Okay.
Episode 13, the final episode.
The Post.
Sully.
Oh, thank God, not the Post.
Yes, ruled out the Post.
Good.
Forrest is on a plane where the pilot and the co-pilot both pass out for some unknown reason.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there is a reason when this TV show gets made.
Gas leak, yeah.
Sure. Forrest steps in and uses skills that he learned from the war to fly the plane. But not before the plane flew through a flock of geese, that's difficult, causing dual engine failure. Forrest successfully lands the plane in a river, which results in a lengthy court case of whether he should have done it or not. When he is finally allowed to speak in his court case, because his lawyer's talking over him the whole time, he gives a massive, very long speech about all the amazing things he's done in the past 12 episodes.
Sure.
And how this qualifies him to do whatever he wants. He drops the mic and walks out. Season end.
Great. I think that works. I mean, that could be really good. It's almost a little bit American Godsy mixed with a series of unfortunate events mixed with...
Yeah, that'd be quite good style for it, actually.
Yeah, I think it should definitely have a fairy tale element. I think it should be magical realism. It should really like ramp up that kind of element of it, of being like, it's a magical world and he doesn't age and he's just moving through different time periods and he's just... Forrest Gump is this kind of almost godlike figure. I think that could really work. And that's cool. I'm thinking of the Tom Hanks films that you didn't mention. Like, I guess they're safe for series 2. What else could we bring in there?
See, I was going to go through his films in order.
Yeah,
and
I mean, there's a lot.
And not do all of them, like finish. I was hoping to just do his films from the 80s and have that as one season, then do his films from the 90s like that. But he's not actually got that many from then, so I have to start in like the mid-90s.
Well, you definitely missed...
obviously exclude Forrest Gump, which would then be quite similar to that second book. So there's a fair few that I missed, which are generally the unhappy ones. So Sleeps in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's actually not that cheery, according to the synopsis.
No, I've not seen it.
Philadelphia, rule that right
Very
out.
Very depressing film. Yeah,
Saving Private Ryan. Didn't really know what to do there. It's not...
You'd have to just revisit the Vietnam.
It's very warlike, again.
You'd have to revisit the Vietnam. It'd be just Saving Bubba. Yeah.
The Green Mile.
Too depressing. Yeah.
Saving Mr. Banks. Didn't know what to do there.
Tom Hanks accidentally inspires Mary Poppins.
Well, that would very much go with the time travel sort of thing.
It would definitely be after you'd have to be jumping through time. Yeah. You could do Splash. Jenny's a mermaid for reasons.
I don't know. I mean, I've done every film of his that I've seen.
Okay.
And a few more.
Fair enough. Yeah, clearly, yeah.
I did my best.
No, you did well. I like that. That's good. It's got mileage.
Yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah. Poor old Colin Hanks. 13-episode TV series in which he revisits all of his father's films. It's like the epitome of accepting defeat.
Very true. Very true. Who else would you cast instead?
No. I mean, it's the role he was born to play. Literally. Like, don't know. There is no modern Tom Hanks. Like what he has is not the same as what other people have. It's a very distinctive thing. But yeah. Cool. Okay. Very good. I like it.
Right. Should we get to some listener submissions?
Yes, as you'd expect. This film had a few.
Good. So,
first of all, We Watch Anything at We Watch Anything And this is one of the people who said they hated this film. So, yeah.
No.
Nevertheless, he did.
You are banned from the podcast.
We're not even reading your sequel. Screw you. No, we'll read it. Thank you for listening. We appreciate your love.
You're always welcome.
Yes. So the sequel is called Gumped. Gump comedy. Gumped.
Is that a play on words with something else?
Maybe. We'll see.
Sounds familiar.
So the movie is the same, but told entirely from the perspective that Forrest Gump is in fact not a sweetly innocent simpleton, but a manipulative genius.
Okay. What? So the whole thing was a
ruse.
Okay. I'm sold already. What for? What was the...
Well, I'll continue. So from a young age, he realises that he gets further in life by pretending that he's simple. So we start off seeing him realising that he can actually walk perfectly well, but he sees ways to capitalise on the leg braces, eventually getting a football scholarship out of it.
Mm-hmm.
He also realises that his talents could be of incredible use to the paranoid US politician J. Edgar Hoover, and he's enlisted into the army to uncover sedition and deserters. So after leaving the army, his next mission is to infiltrate the counterculture. He uses his friendship with Jenny as a way in. He becomes involved with agency politics and ends up ousting Nixon from his paymasters. The agency he's now working for needs a public hero, so an analyst, played by Peter Sarsgaard, comes up with a running idea, and Forrest implements this after callously using his childhood friend Jenny as a one-night stand and discarding her. He infiltrates the burgeoning tech industry. After building a covert navy to attack Cuba, wow. I'm guessing he infiltrates the burgeoning tech industry as a reference to the time he invested in Apple?
Ah, yeah, of course.
So he realises that to be a true sleeper agent, he needs a family. So he inserts himself back into Jenny's life, claims the son he's been refusing to pay child support for all these years. Unfortunately, Jenny finds his safe combination and discovers his true identity and confronts him. So now she has to go, so he poisons her. So she succumbs to an obscure form of poisoning, and we leave him with the perfect cover on the way to his next crime. That's the kind of thing I would do. Like that's darker than even I could come up with this film.
I disagree. I like it. That is a thinker.
Oh, sorry. It's not like my idea because you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Your idea makes you feel a little bit awkward.
No, I don't mean my.
Just
I don't mean my idea this week. I don't mean my idea this week. I just mean in general. I go for those like, oh, actually they're evil. Which I didn't do this week. I didn't make anyone evil.
No.
I was just saying that's kind of a route I've gone down in the past.
You don't normally make people evil other than yourself.
There's been times, though.
You microwaved a cat, John.
Yeah, no, but I mean, there's been times that I've made characters evil who weren't necessarily evil, I think. You're never going to let that go, are you?
Well, the cat wouldn't. God.
Get over it.
Anyway, what's
it's
next?
Storytelling.
That last one was good. Who was it?
That was We Watch Anything, at We Watch Anything.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that, guys. Blokebusters. No title. Forrest is an old man in a care home telling his nurse about his son growing up and the troubles they had together. Him as a dad and the son eventually leaving home. He wishes he could see him again. ...
Mm-hmm.
The final scene shows the nurse leaving and talking to his co-workers about Forrest, lamenting that he doesn't remember his own son's face anymore. We see a picture in the background of the two of them hugging, the nurse in a graduation gown. So the nurse is Forrest's son. So I guess it's just a story about Alzheimer's. So Forrest's son is the nurse who's nursing Forrest.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Bit bleak, but sure. Bit short, bit bleak.
Mm-hmm.
Easy Riders Raging podcast. Chris, our special guest from a couple of weeks ago, from the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang episode, available now. So this is called, I like this as well. This might be my favourite, actually. And I'm not just saying it because he came to visit us. Forrest Trump.
Oh, great. Yeah.
A remake.
There had to be one.
Yeah. A remake featuring America's current president interacting with icons of late 20th century history, such as Tony Blair, Madonna, Someone Sporty, Crocodile Dundee, etc.
Wait a minute. Sorry, so Donald Trump is the main character?
Yes.
Right. Got you.
Donald Trump is Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
So it's America's president interacts with icons of late 20th century history, much in the way that in the film he interacts with the 1960s and 70s celebrities like the presidents and, John Lennon, etc. And making a complete arse of himself each time.
Well, of course.
Of course.
That'll be really good.
So the film ends with him wandering around a nuclear-devastated America, eating McDonald's and feeling really pleased with himself.
Great. Played by Alec Baldwin, I imagine.
That would be a good... Yeah. Well, Alec Baldwin plays Trump, yeah, true. I was
Do you think I come up with that?
I was like, oh, God, yeah, someone should really cast Alec Baldwin as Donald Trump. That's really inspired, yeah. I was thinking he could also play Forrest Gump, though.
Oh,
a version of.
Yeah.
He's got range, that man. You've seen 30 Rock. That man can play anything.
Yeah.
Kevin Mowery, His sequel is two drifters kidnap a mentally challenged millionaire. Ryan Felipe, Benicio del Toro, and Tom Hanks star in The Way of the Gump.
The Way of the Gump.
Yep. And that's that. I think that references something.
Lovely.
Yeah. Fernando J. Marcentel Willis, I hope that was pronounced correctly. Forrest produces the Back to the Future films as Robert Zemeckis' ghostwriter. Robert Zemeckis, who wrote and directed this, also directed the Back to the Future trilogy.
Yes, we did.
So in this version, Forrest produces them as his ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Forrest tells Kurt Cobain how to break out of rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Forrest feeds George Bush some bad sushi. Forrest introduces the Spice Girls to one another. Forrest tells the guy from Eiffel 65 what his favourite colour is. Does that reference go over your head?
Completely.
I'm blue, dabba-dee, dabba-die, dabba-dee. You must know that song. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Forrest has a vague interaction with a passenger on Flight 93 moments before boarding. Forrest gives Tommy Wiseau a loan from the Bubba Gump finance account so large that it leads to a falling out with Lieutenant Dan.
What is this, one idea?
I guess he gives a massive loan to this Tommy Wiseau character to make a film. And I guess Lieutenant Dan's like...
No, I mean, is this the same as the 93?
These are all one idea. These are all one idea, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think Flight 93 is just one reference to a film that neither of us have seen.
No, I've seen it.
Okay, great.
It's the fourth plane in 9/11 that actually didn't hit.
Oh, right. Okay, sure.
Crashed in a field.
Okay,
Just
so
aimed,
yeah.
aimed for the White House.
I'm guessing the theme for this is Forrest again through history.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Forrest is somehow involved in Benghazi, which is the thing Hillary Clinton gets accused of being involved in. So, great. Good stuff. And finally, the Contrarians podcast. Their idea is Gump Jr. Haley Joel Osment, for it was he,
Sure.
reprises his role as Forrest's son.
Yeah.
Unlike his father, Gump Jr. has a high IQ, which allows him to manipulate people. Again with the manipulation, it's a theme here. Allows him to manipulate people and events, leading him to become instrumental in American history in a way his father never was. So yeah, I guess that's similar to the earliest idea by We Watch Anything, where this time it's just Haley Joel Osment's character instead, where he uses his father's simplicity trick to put himself into historical situations.
Yeah.
So yeah, some good stuff there. A lot of quite dark stuff there. A lot of, yeah.
Good.
But all good, all good. We appreciate that very much. So yeah, that was Forrest Gump.
Yeah, thank you everybody for helping out with our episode 50.
Yes. That was a good one.
Yes.
So if you have any sequel ideas for Forrest Gump that you'd like to see made, or if you have any ideas for films we've done in the past, or if any films you'd like to hear us do in the future, let us know. We are Beyond the Box Set. You can find us on beyondtheboxset.com. We're also available on all good podcasting networks, including iTunes, Podbean, and Spotify. You can also find us online if you want to get in touch with us on most forms of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you like the show, please hit subscribe for a new episode every Friday morning. And if you really like us, leave us a review because it really helps us to find new listeners. And as we mentioned, we have a Patreon now, and we have an account at TeePublic. TeePublic. So if you want to buy some Beyond the Box Set merch, it's now available, or will be soon.
T-shirts, mugs, phone cases, whatever you need.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the support you've given us over this first year. It's been a great ride, and we're looking forward to many more. So until then, so what's next week?
Wait a minute, is that cake still... sorry, it's been behind the laptop the whole time. I forgot about the cake.
Yeah, Harry, we have cake sweet now.
Oh, what are we going to do with this cake?
I'm going to eat the cake.
Great.
Great. What did you think? Did you think we were going to have sex with the cake?
No.
So
content will be less explicit than that.
Yes. Well, depends on what you pay. So yeah, next week we have another guest, I believe.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh, finally, been waiting to get this guy on for bloody ages.
A very special guest, actually. Not only a guest, but also
this is a person who has been on our show
every week, essentially.
Every single week. Yeah, he's the third most popular person on our show.
I'd say so.
And he gets compliments all the time from people I've never heard of.
Yeah.
This man is called Phil Hepworth, and he is the person who wrote and sang our theme tune.
Yes. And he's
tune in next week for a live performance of our
theme tune. Great.
Yes. With us doing the drums on the table.
And possibly some backing vocals.
Yes.
Yes.
God, I forgot we did that.
We are on BVs if you listen very carefully.
Oh, yeah, dear.
So join us next week, where we will be joined by Phil Hepworth and his film choice, which I believe is the classic 80s sci-fi Batteries Not Included.
I'm looking forward to it. I've not seen it.
No, I've not seen it since I was a very small child, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it.
Yeah, I need to watch this quite soon. Really.
You do, actually, yeah. TikTok. So yeah, that was our episode 50. So tune in for 51 coming up next week. And,
Here's the next 50, everyone.
Indeed.
Thank
See
you
then.
very much.
Thanks a lot, guys, and bye.
Bye.